special instructions?
Yes. Tonight, at the 15-minute mark, I'll just give you the warning. And 17 minutes is the normal time after that, of course, deduction. Previous business may come back up this evening, so it would be as if it's transacted before in a previous meeting. And 2 of our judges will be serving as active judges in voting. And you will have 1 minute to look at your cards, and at 1 minute mark, then I'll give you the okay to begin the meeting. Are there any questions?
Did you say 2 of the judges will be voting?
Yes.
Okay.
You may look at your cards.
The meeting room will come to order. We are now holding a meeting of the North Decatur FFA chapter. Mr. Vice President, are all officers at their stations?
I shall call the roll of officers, determine if they're at their stations, and report back to you, Mr. President. The Sentinel.
Stationed by the door.
Your duties there?
Through this door pass many friends of the FFA. It is my duty to see that the door is open to our friends at all times and that they are welcome. I care for the meeting room and paraphernalia. I strive to keep the room comfortable and assist the President in maintaining order.
The reporter.
The reporter is stationed by the flag.
Why by the flag?
As the flag covers the United States of America, so I strive to inform the people in order that every man, woman, child may know that FFA is a national organization that reaches from the state of Alaska to Puerto Rico to state of Maine to Hawaii.
The treasurer.
Stationed by the Emblem of Washington.
Your duties there?
I keep a record of receipts and disbursements, just as Washington kept his farm accounts carefully and accurately. I encourage thrift among the members and strive to build up our financial standings through savings and investments. George Washington was better able to serve his country because he was financially independent.
The secretary.
Stationed by the ear of corn.
Your duties there?
I keep an accurate record of all meetings and correspond with other secretaries wherever corn is grown and FFA members meet.
The advisor.
Here by the owl.
Why stationed by the owl?
The owl is a time-honored emblem of knowledge and wisdom. Being older than the rest of you, I've been asked to advise you from time to time as the need arises. I hope my advice will always be based on true knowledge and ripened with wisdom. Mr. Vice President, why do you keep a plow at your station?
The plow is a symbol of labor and tillage of the soil. Without labor, neither knowledge nor wisdom can accomplish much. My duties require me to assist at all times in directing the work of our organization. I preside over meetings in the absence of our president, whose place is beneath the rising sun.
Why is the president so stationed?
The rising sun is a token of a new era in agriculture. If we will follow the leadership of our president, we shall be led out of the darkness of selfishness and into the glorious sunlight of brotherhood and cooperation. Mr. President, all officers are at their stations.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. The Secretary will call the roll of members.
There are 14 members and 3 judges present, Mr. President.
Thank you. FFA members, why are we here?
To practice brotherhood, honor agricultural opportunities and responsibilities, and develop those qualities of leadership which an FFA member should possess.
May we accomplish our purposes, I now declare this meeting of the North Decatur FFA chapter duly open for the transaction of business or attention to any matters which may properly be presented. The Secretary will now give the minutes of the previous meeting.
The North Decatur FFA chapter met on March 15, 2015 in the North Decatur Ag Classroom with President Zach Johnson presiding. There were 52 members and 1 advisor present. Kaylee Krieger gave the treasurer's report and reported a balance of $3,246.32. In new business, JoBeth Martin moved that we hold our spring fun night on April 30th. Adam Hartman moved to refer the motion to a special committee. The motion was seconded, discussed, and passed. Jo Beth Martin, Rebecca Caney, and Addison Thompson were appointed to the committee, with Jo Beth being appointed at the chair. Jalen Matthews moved to donate $100 to the American Red Cross. The motion was seconded, discussed, and passed. With no further new business, the meeting was closed with official closing ceremonies.
Are there any additions or corrections to the Secretary's minutes? They stand approved as read. Are there any officer reports?
Mr. President, I have the Treasurer's report. The balance carried forward from March 15, 2015 was $3,246.32. Total receipts is $57. Total disbursements is $342.28. The North Decatur FFA Treasury balance is $2,961.04.
The Treasurer's report is for your information only and will be filed subject to audit at a later date. Are there any more officer reports? Special features. Unfinished business. Committee reports, special or standing.
Mr. President, I have a committee's report. Our committee met to discuss the details of our upcoming spring fun night. It will be held on Thursday, April 30th from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. in our outdoor wildlife lab. Hot dogs and hamburgers will be cooked and games will be available for all to play. Cornhole boards are needed. Please bring them with you that evening if you have any available.
Are there any questions for the committee? Are there any more committee reports, special or standing? Is there any new business?
Mr. President,
Yes, Andrew.
I move that our chapter allocates $500 towards landscaping the county fairgrounds and $400 towards landscaping the school grounds.
Second.
The motion for the chapter to allocate $500 towards landscaping the county fairgrounds and $400 towards landscaping the school grounds has properly been moved and seconded. It is amendable, debatable, and requires a majority vote. Is there any discussion?
Mr. President,
Yes, Andrew.
Being the maker of this motion, I am in favor of it. As Kaylee gave our treasurer's balance, we have plenty of money to do this, and I feel like it'd be a good idea because we have a lot of members that participate in the county fair, and we obviously, all of our members take part in the landscaping and the greenhouse at our school anyway. So I think this would be a great idea, and I encourage you all to vote for it.
Is there any further discussion?
Mr. President,
Yes, Kyle.
I move to divide this motion. So the first motion will read to chapter to allocate $500 towards landscaping the county fairgrounds, and the other reading $400 toward landscaping the school grounds.
Second.
The motion to divide the main motion into two separate motions, the first stating for the chapter to allocate $500 towards the landscaping of the county fairgrounds, and the second stating for the chapter to allocate $400 towards the landscaping of the school grounds, has probably been moved and seconded. It is amendable but not debatable and requires a majority vote. Are there any amendments? We will now proceed to vote. All in favor of dividing the question say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The motion passes. Is there any discussion on our main motion to allocate $500 towards landscaping the county fairgrounds?
Mr. President.
Yes, Emily.
I move to amend this motion by striking out $500 and inserting $800.
Second.
The motion to amend the main motion by striking out $500 and inserting $800 to make the motion read for the chapter to allocate $800 towards landscaping the county fairgrounds has properly been moved and seconded. It is amendable, debatable, and requires a majority vote. Is there any discussion?
Mr. President.
Yes, Emily.
Being the maker of this motion, I think that we should make it $800 because we have the money in our treasurer's account, as Kaylee stated earlier. So I believe that we can make this happen to help our county fairgrounds. So I encourage you all to vote for this motion.
Is there any further discussion?
Mr. President.
Yes, Danny.
As Kaylee stated, we have nearly $3,000 in our account. So I strongly believe that increasing the amount to $800, which would only be a $300 increase, would be a minor inconvenience for us with our funds available. So I strongly encourage you to vote for this amendment.
Is there any further discussion?
Mr. President,
Yes, Nicole.
I'm against this motion. Danny and Emily were correct in saying that we do have a lot of funds in our treasury account, but I feel like $800 would be quite a lot compared to $500, and $500 would be an ample amount to make our county fairgrounds look a lot better than what they do now. So that's why I encourage you to vote against this amendment.
there any further discussion?
Mr. President,
Yes, Judge.
I call for the President's opinion.
Mr. Vice President, will you please assume the position of the chair?
Is there any further discussion on the amendment to strike out $500 and insert $800?
Mr. Chairperson?
Yes, Adam.
I feel that this is a great amendment to the motion, seeing as our county fairgrounds is in drastic need for change. Donating more or allocating more money to the cause will just allow us to be able to take part in more to better the fairgrounds.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we will move to vote. All those in favor of striking out $500 and inserting $800 to make the motion read, the chapter allocate $800 towards landscaping the county fairgrounds, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay.
Nay.
The motion passes. Mr. President, will you please reassume the duties of the chair?
Is there any further discussion on the newly amended main motion for the chapter to allocate $800 towards landscaping the county fairgrounds?
Mr. President,
Yes, Adam.
I move to postpone this motion indefinitely.
Second.
The motion to postpone the main motion indefinitely has properly been moved and seconded. It is not amendable, but is debatable and requires a majority vote. Is there any discussion?
Mr. President,
Yes,
being the maker of this motion, I am in favor of it. Seeing as we are not in charge of the fairgrounds, and they have their own budget in order of landscaping, and the fairgrounds were recently renovated for landscaping and other items of such. But I feel it is not our duty nor our job to bother landscaping these fairgrounds. And even if we do allocate funds, how do we deal with those? Those are not our problem. We cannot just do it ourselves. Would it be a donation? This motion is just, I feel, is a useless motion. So I encourage you all to vote for this motion.
is there any further discussion?
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr. Vice President.
I am against this motion to postpone indefinitely. The county fairgrounds helps us out in many ways. They host our livestock contests, and they're just overall very nice and courteous to the FFA. So I think that if we would go ahead and allocate the $800 and landscape the fairgrounds, it'd be a very nice thing to do. So I encourage you to vote against this postpone indefinitely.
Is there any further discussion?
Mr. President,
Yes, Joette.
I am not in favor of this postpone indefinitely. Seeing as we are clearing up our schedule and getting ready for an opening, I don't think that we need to take this out of anything that we could do, because by opening up our opportunities to help out our own fairgrounds, this could help us out in the long run. So I encourage y'all to vote against this postpone indefinitely.
Is there any further discussion?
Mr. President,
Yes, Jalen.
I move to limit debate on this motion to one time per person.
Second.
The motion to limit debate on this motion to one time per person has properly been moved and seconded. It is amendable but not debatable and requires a 2/3 vote. Are there any amendments? We will now proceed to vote. All in favor of limiting debate on the motion to postpone the main motion indefinitely, please stand. Thank you. All opposed, please stand. Thank you. The motion passes on a 9-2 vote. Is there any further discussion on the motion to postpone the main motion indefinitely? We will now proceed to vote. All in favor of postponing the main motion indefinitely, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay.
Nay.
The motion fails. Is there any further discussion on the main motion for the chapter to allocate $500 towards the landscaping of the county
President,
fairgrounds?
asked a point of order. It was changed to $800.
Thank you. Point well taken. Is there any further discussion on the main motion for the chapter to allocate $800 towards landscaping the county fairgrounds?
Mr. President,
Yes, Nicole.
I move that we take a 5-minute recess.
Second.
The motion to take a 5-minute recess has properly been moved and seconded. It is amendable but not debatable and requires a majority vote. Are there any amendments? We will now proceed to vote. All in favor of taking a 5-minute recess, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay.
Nay.
The motion fails. Is there any further discussion on the main motion? We will now proceed to vote. All in favor of the chapter allocating $800 towards landscaping the county fairgrounds, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The motion passes. Is there any discussion on our second main motion for the chapter to allocate $400 towards the landscaping of the school grounds?
Mr. President.
Yes, Addison.
I'm in favor, especially seeing we have enough money, and I feel like it would go to a good, like it would make our school look better, so I encourage you all to vote for this motion.
Is there any further discussion?
Mr. President.
Yes, Rebecca.
I'm in favor of this motion, seeing as our school does a lot for us, and we can take it and make it nicer with landscaping the school grounds. We also have a class that I think it would benefit that does landscaping for the school, so I encourage you all to vote for this motion.
Is there any further discussion?
Mr. President.
Yes, Kaylee.
I am also in favor of this motion. I feel the school does a lot to support our FFA, and it would also make the FFA look better, so I encourage you all to vote for this motion.
Is there any further discussion?
Mr. President.
Yes, Kyle.
I'm against this motion. As Rebecca stated, we have a class that already works to work in our landscaping in the school. So I feel that our contribution is actually doing the work and not funding it too. So I encourage you all to vote against this motion.
Is there any further discussion?
Mr. President.
Yes, Jalen.
I'm also in favor of this motion because I feel like our chapter would really enjoy helping the landscaping of our school, and it'd be kind of cool to make it look better and neater. So I encourage you all to vote for this motion.
Is there any further discussion? We will now proceed to vote. All in favor of the chapter allocating $400 towards the landscaping of the school grounds, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay.
Nay.
The motion passes. Is there any further new business?
Mr. President,
Yes, Judge.
at our January meeting, we voted to sell popcorn at the county fair. I move to amend the motion to sell ice cream.
Second.
Has any action been taken?
No.
Has any notice been given?
No.
The motion to amend the motion from our January meeting by striking out popcorn and inserting ice cream to make the motion read, sell ice cream at the county fair, has properly been moved and seconded. It is amendable, debatable, and requires a 2/3 vote. Is there any discussion?
Mr. President.
Yes, Adam.
I'm strongly in favor of this motion. As popcorn is a work treat, it would sell well, but ice cream is being a cool treat, and in the summer, this product should sell better, thus gaining us more profit. So I encourage you all to vote for this motion.
Is there any further discussion?
Mr. President,
Yes, Danny.
on the contrary of Adam's discussion, of being able to generate more profit, with Mrs. Obama and her doings trying to encourage better health in the United States, I feel that popcorn is a much healthier food for people around our county, as opposed to ice cream, which only encourages obesity. And so I strongly encourage you to vote against this motion.
Is there any further discussion?
Mr. President,
Yes, Nicole.
I'm against this motion. I feel like popcorn would sell better at our fair because ice cream, there are multiple ice cream stands already at our county fair, so we'd be in a lot more competition there. And I can't recall very many popcorn stands at all, so that's why I encourage you all to vote against this motion.
Is there any further discussion? We will now proceed to vote. All in favor of amending the motion from our January meeting by striking out popcorn and inserting ice cream to make the motion read, to sell ice cream at our county fair, please stand. All opposed, please stand. Thank you. The motion failed with a 2-9 vote. Is there any further new business? Madam Secretary, do you have a record of any further business which should now be transacted?
I have none, Mr. President.
Does any member know of any new or unfinished business which would properly come before this meeting? We are about to adjourn this meeting of the North Decatur FFA chapter. As we mingle with others, let us be diligent in labor, just in our dealings, courteous to everyone, and, above all, honest and fair in the game of life. Fellow members and guests, join me in a salute to our flag, which is located on the reporter's stand.
I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I now declare this meeting adjourned.